Your kidneys are silently drowning right now, and the supposedly healthy whole foods you forced down your throat this morning are the exact anchor pulling them under. You have been manipulated into believing that eating clean always means eating complex, unrefined grains, especially when your internal filtration system is on the verge of a catastrophic collapse. But the truth is, the heavy, mineral-dense foods recommended by fitness influencers are actively destroying the microscopic filters in your renal system. By the end of this video, I am going to reveal one specific grain preparation method that acts like a microscopic vacuum for your blood. But if you skip it, everything else I tell you will literally poison your system faster. And this is exactly where 99% of people fail. They assume that if a food is white, it has been stripped of its soul and is inherently toxic to the human body. However, that assumption is a direct ticket to dialysis when your kidneys are already compromised. When your nephrons, the tiny filtering units inside your kidneys, are damaged, they lose the ability to regulate potassium and phosphorus. But the real nightmare starts when those minerals build up in your bloodstream. Your heart rhythm destabilizes, your bones start releasing calcium to compensate, and your blood vessels literally begin to calcify and turn to stone. Yet, knowing this is only half the battle, because the food industry keeps pushing brown rice and quinoa as the ultimate superfoods. What they fail to mention is that the bran layer on those whole grains contains massive, concentrated doses of phosphorus and potassium. And here is where the story takes a massive twist. Milled white rice, the very food you have been told to fear, is actually a medical necessity for a compromised renal system. Because the milling process violently strips away the bran and the germ, it removes the exact toxic mineral load that your kidneys are begging you to stop eating. But wait, because not all white rice is created equal, and choosing the wrong one will spike your blood sugar and create an entirely different metabolic disaster. Number 1 is aged Sona Masuri. This specific variety of medium-grain white rice is an absolute lifesaver for people living in constant fear of their next blood test. Sona Masuri is naturally lighter and significantly lower in starch than traditional long-grain varieties, but the magic happens specifically when it is aged for at least 12 months. And this is the part that completely alters your biochemistry. As the rice ages, its moisture content evaporates, which drastically changes its structural matrix and lowers its glycemic index. When you consume freshly harvested white rice, it turns into pure glucose almost instantly, forcing your pancreas to dump insulin and creating a highly inflammatory environment that fries your delicate kidney blood vessels. But here is the secret nobody tells you about aged grains. The aging process forces the starch molecules to crystallize, meaning your digestive enzymes have to work harder and slower to break them down. This slow-release mechanism gives you a steady, calm stream of energy without the violent blood sugar spikes that damage the renal arteries. Yet, eating aged Sona Masuri is not just about what it lacks. It is about what it facilitates. Because the mineral load is practically non-existent, your kidneys suddenly get a vacation. Instead of desperately filtering out excess dietary phosphorus, your renal system can redirect its cellular energy toward tissue repair and flushing out the uremic toxins that are making you feel perpetually exhausted. But this brings us to a massive roadblock most patients crash into. They eat the right rice, but completely destroy its therapeutic value by pairing it with heavy, dark sauces loaded with hidden sodium and artificial preservatives. If you want aged Sona Masuri to actually detoxify your body, you must pair it with high-quality, low-phosphorus proteins like egg whites or boiled chicken, and sulfur-rich vegetables like cabbage that bind to toxins in the gut. However, if you cannot find aged Sona Masuri, you are not out of luck, which brings us to the second therapeutic grain. Number 2 is milled calrose rice. You might know this as the sticky, short-grain rice used in sushi, but in the realm of kidney optimization, it operates like a high-octane cellular fuel. People terrified of kidney failure often suffer from severe unintentional weight loss and chronic fatigue because they are too afraid to eat anything. And this is exactly why Calrose rice is a biological cheat code. Because of its unique amylopectin structure, it is incredibly easy for the stomach and small intestine to break down and absorb. Your body spends almost zero energy digesting it. But why does that matter for your kidneys? Because digestion requires massive amounts of blood flow and metabolic energy. When you eat tough, fibrous whole grains, your body shunts blood to your gut for hours, leaving your organs competing for resources. By consuming milled Calrose rice, you are giving your body instant, clean, zero-waste energy that absorbs high up in the digestive tract. But the real danger lies in how you cook it. If you throw raw Calrose rice into a pot of boiling water directly from the bag, you are committing dietary sabotage. Calrose rice holds on to surface starches that can make it uncomfortably dense if not treated. You must employ the triple kinetic wash. You place the rice in a bowl, cover it with cold water, and vigorously scrub the grains together with your hands until the water turns completely milky. Then drain and repeat 3 times until the water runs crystal clear. And this is where the magic truly happens. By stripping that surface amylopectin, you reduce the carbohydrate density per bite, making the rice impossibly light and fluffy. Your kidneys receive the exact caloric foundation they need to keep you alive and functioning without the heavy physiological toll of processing dense plant matter. But even with the wash, many people still experience a lingering fear of nutrient deficiency. They think that by eating white sushi rice, they are starving their cells of vital vitamins. And that brings us to the ultimate hybrid solution, number 3, converted parboiled white rice. This is the absolute crown jewel of renal dietary strategy, and yet it sits completely ignored on supermarket shelves. Parboiled rice is not pre-cooked rice. It is a highly specialized processing method where the raw rice is soaked, steamed under immense pressure, and dried before the bran is ever removed. But here is the mind-blowing physiological advantage of this process. The extreme pressure forces the water-soluble B vitamins from the toxic bran layer deep into the starchy endosperm. After the steaming is complete, the manufacturer mills the rice, throwing away the phosphorus and potassium-rich bran, but leaving the essential B vitamins trapped inside the white grain. And this is exactly the loophole your body has been begging for. You get the nutritional support of a whole grain without the deadly mineral payload that destroys your nephrons. B vitamins, particularly folate and B6, are absolutely critical for kidney patients because they help manufacture red blood cells and prevent the debilitating anemia that accompanies chronic kidney strain. But the benefits of parboiled rice do not stop there. The pressure steaming fundamentally alters the molecular structure of the rice, gelatinizing the starches into something called resistant starch. And this is where the science gets incredibly exciting for your longevity. Resistant starch bypasses the stomach and small intestine completely and travels directly to your colon, where it feeds the beneficial bacteria in your microbiome. Those bacteria then ferment the starch and produce short-chain fatty acids like butyrate. But why should someone with kidney issues care about their colon? Because your body is a connected ecosystem. When your gut microbiome is thriving, it dramatically reduces systemic inflammation and actually traps uremic toxins in the digestive tract, preventing them from ever entering your bloodstream in the first place. You are literally using your gut to do the filtering work that your kidneys are too weak to handle. However, none of this matters if you fall into the final deadly trap. You can buy the most expensive parboiled rice, wash it perfectly, and cook it flawlessly. But if you eat it the wrong way, you are just spinning your wheels. The secret I promised you at the beginning, the one thing that changes everything, is temperature manipulation. When you cook parboiled white rice, you must immediately put it in the refrigerator and let it cool completely for at least 12 to 24 hours before you eat it. And here is the brutal truth that food companies hide from you. The cooling process triggers a phenomenon called starch retrogradation. The starch molecules realign and lock into an indigestible crystalline structure, multiplying the resistant starch content massively. When you take that cold rice, gently reheat it, and eat it, the glycemic impact is slashed in half, and the toxin binding power in your gut is magnified exponentially. Your kidneys do not heal by accident. Okay? They repair themselves when you systematically remove the invisible burdens crushing them every single day. Stop fearing white rice. Stop punishing your body with whole grains that your organs can no longer process. Take control of your bowl, execute the triple wash, leverage the cooling protocol, and watch as your energy returns. The swelling in your ankles vanishes, and your lab numbers finally start moving in the right direction. Do not wait for your doctor to hand you a dialysis brochure. Change your grain, change your chemistry, and save your kidneys today.